Hello everybody, welcome to another episode of Fly Tying 201. Today we are going to tie another pattern I've come up with that I call the Blue Mantis. And it's basically rabbit and some fringe and these really cool new color bead chain eyes in pink. I figured this would be a nice color for Steelhead. So what we've got here is a number 2 salmon hook. And I've already laid down just a little bit of pink thread here, and this is actually uni thread in 6/0. And now we're going to add the bead chain eye to it. So we're just going to do about 3 wraps this way, 3 wraps this way, 3 or 4. Do a couple of figure 8s underneath here to kind of lock things down a little bit. And now with a little bit of increasing pressure, I can add in a little bit more thread here, and what we're trying to do is we're just at this point here just trying to build up a little bit of a base or kind of fill in that gap a little. There's no further need to really put a lot of pressure on it. It's about as tight as it's going to get. In fact, it's not moving at all. So now when I get things settled where I want, I'm going to just kind of work my way back here a little bit, and we will whip finish and then put on a different color thread. I just go with 2 colors of thread here because I don't want any of the pink to show up on the back end here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Pull that off. And if you watched my last video, you'll know that I've been doing a lot of crazy glue on the flies here, and for no other reason than to try to make them a bit more durable. Nothing is more frustrating, well, other than losing it in a tree after 2 minutes, than to have a beautiful fish tear the you-know-what out of your fly and you can't use it anymore. So while that's down and drying a little bit, we're going to add our next thread, which is uni in a lighter blue. And in the last video, I was doing a tube fly, and I mentioned I didn't pay a whole lot of attention to building up a thread base. On this particular fly, however, it's just the opposite. We're going to do a real nice base of thread here because we don't want the rabbit fur to spin unnecessarily. So we'll build that up nicely. Go back and forth about maybe 4 times or so. And there we go. Just about to the point of the hook. What we've got next on the materials list is a tiger barred magnum strip. I want a big old fat tail on this thing here, because I want it to look like, if you look at the shape of a praying mantis, it kind of has a fatter rear end. And if you look real closely, you can see I put a V-notch in here already, just to kind of help taper that end a little as it goes through the water. And I'm going to put a bit more crazy glue here, just a little bit. Lay the rabbit on it, and slowly but firmly put more and more pressure on and work my way all the way up and back. Kind of check things out there a little bit. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Okay, now what we're going to do is add the next layer, which is more rabbit, but in this particular case it is cross-cut rabbit strips in fluorescent blue. It's darn thing keeps focusing incorrectly, and it's cross-cut because, as you see, the material kind of goes one way along the hide here, and that's good for palmering. So I'm going to find the end here, and this one already has a kind of a little bit of a cut into it, so I don't have to do much here. And we are going to put 1, 2, 3, and there's already glue on there, so we're good. And now we're just going to palmer that around a few times. Doesn't have to be any specific number, just when you think that it's starting to look good here. If you look at the actual fly that I've got tied, you'll see that there's a few wraps on there. And you may need to use a little bit of saliva or other liquid here to tame it, as it were. So 1 time over, 2 times over, 3 times over. I know I'm repeating myself. Cut it. And this is where we use our big scissors. We don't want to put a lot of undue pressure on smaller scissors. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now the next color is going to be cross-cut rabbit, but black. So we can put that in right away here. And I'm going to just kind of peel off a little bit of the fur to get down to the hide here, so I've got a nice surface here that I can use and lock down. 2, 3, 4. Okay. And I did that incorrectly. Getting ahead of myself here. I used the wrong end. As a result of that, it would have been backwards. I suppose it still would have worked. I don't think the fish would have judged us accordingly. There we go. So we're going to go add a little bit of crazy glue to this too. I don't want that to come undone. Okay. Basically this is just an accent color, so we're not putting that much on there. In fact, I'm only going to go really 1 time around. 1, 2, 3 again. Trim that back. Down, I should say. Okay. Now we're going to add in some of the flash. So what we've got here is crystal flash that is black and silver, as you can see. And I use maybe 10 or plus strands here. So I'm going to take my vise, lay this on its side here, and I want it to be a little bit past the black. As you can see, it goes a little bit past the black portion here. And then I'm just going to move it over and do the rest. And trim it just a little bit past the black there. So again, we want this thing to just maybe a little bit more there. I feel like I'm a barber. Okay. So now, a little trick that I have come up with. Actually, it was my daughter's idea. I get to put one of these clamps on here to help kind of tame everything. You can get these at your local beauty shop. I think we got these at CVS or Walgreens. And all we have to do now is add one more layer. Oh, sorry. We're adding the blue rubber for the legs, and a very similar setup here where we're going, in this case it's 4 strands, not 10. Okay. And move that over. And I'll trim this up at the very end. These legs are actually connected at the end, so I'm not going to worry about that right now. Okay, now I'm going to actually readjust. Screwed up, I forgot about this part. Okay, so now we've got a nice clean area here, and we're going to put the last bit of rabbit on there, which is the same rabbit as before. Catch it by the very corner. Lock it down pretty good. Another dab of glue. Lock things in there. And again, we're only going to do maybe 2 wraps with this. over, and down, 1, 2, 3. Take the scissors. And now basically just finish it off. Get in there and trim that a little bit more so it's a little bit more cosmetic than anything. And then what we're going to do is whip finish. 4 or 5. Pull it nice and tight. As I mentioned before, I like using the Hard as Hull product here to really kind of penetrate deep into the thread wraps as my first. Okay, now we're almost done. Basically all you do is you take off the clip, figure out how long you want these blue legs, which I like them a little bit longer. Cut, and there you have it, a blue mantis salmon fly. Thank you, everybody.